On the 7th of December 1968, Richard Todd returned a book to the University of Cincinnati Medical Library that had been booked out by his grandfather in 1823. The £9,435 overdue fine was waived, but it's still a record breaker! Wow. Thank you. Hello and welcome to the Record Breakers. If there's one thing I look forward to every morning, it's the rat-tat-tat of the postman pushing the mail through my letterbox. Of course, I don't like all the letters I get, the bills and things, but I do like receiving letters from my friends and relatives, and I expect you do too. However, there's one letter that I shall never receive through the post, and it's this one. It's just 28 millimetres long by 46 millimetres high, and it's the smallest letter in the world. It was written on October 1840 by John Dolby, and he was writing to a lady called Miss Huish. And when he finished it, he folded it all up, and he popped it in an envelope, this one. There, look at that. 29 times 21 millimetres, and it's the smallest envelope in the world. Now, of all the record attempts that were made during 1972, and there were quite a lot of them, one that most people were unable to see took place at Weymouth in September. Bob Fisher reports.
For the past week, 23 boats have been competing here at Weymouth in the World Sailing Speed Record attempts. It's an international event organised for the first time ever by the Royal Yachting Association. Boat designers and builders have been working for years to try and produce the fastest sailing boat in the world. And looking at some of the craft here, it appears they have very different ideas. This is the least unusual boat in the event, an international tornado catamaran. Admittedly, it has two hulls, but we don't find anything unusual about that these days. These boats are sailed all over the world, and they're factory-produced by the hundreds. In contrast, this trimaran from Denmark was specially produced for the event. This boat has three hulls, and the middle one is a lot longer than either of the two outside ones. It's also equipped with hydrofoils, and when the boat's sailing, these are folded down into the water. And these parts act like wings to lift the whole hull clear of the water. It reduces the drag and makes the boat go faster. Hydrofoils come in all shapes and sizes. There are triangular ones, square ones, oblong ones, deep ones, shallow ones. Some of metal, some of wood. But the biggest here are these on Foiler 3. They act both as a centreboard to stop the boat from going sideways and also as foils to give it lift. However, not every boat here is equipped with hydrofoils. Take a look at this one over here. This vessel is technically described as a three-masted, asymmetric, staggered-hulled catamaran. But to me, it looks more like the aftermath of a crash from a World War I aircraft. I really don't think that this has got much chance of breaking the world sailing speed record. The boat, however, that I do think will do it is one called Crossbow.
I'd been invited to join the other four members of the crew of this 60-foot specially built proa for one of her speed runs. The two hulls, which are 31 feet apart, are joined together by two aluminium tubes and a cross web of canvas called the trampoline. Whilst the rest of the crew rigged the mainsail, I went to see the designer of the boat, Rod McAlpin Downey, to find out exactly what my job was to be. Careful preparation is essential because one slip-up could mean disaster, especially at high speed. With the mainsail up, Tim Coleman, the helmsman, took up his position in the short hull, which on the run should be kept just clear of the water. It was my job, and the rest of the crew's, to see that it didn't lift too far and capsize.
And now we're underway. We're going along to the start of this half-kilometre course, and up comes the hull and I'm rushing out. God, this is hard work already. I've only just started. Now we're underway and going really travelling fast now. And up comes the hull and we rush outboard. I'm rushing outboard to try and get it. Now it's coming back down and I'm going inboard. Winches are grinding away, pulling a main sheet in. And down the hull comes again. And oh, God, I'm nearly breathless already. It's going on really fast now, really travelling. Coming out on the hull, and as she lifts, we come outboard again. Oh, really going fast as we can now, fast as we can. Going out to the finishing line now, finishing line. Oh, we're there. We must have broken the record. We really must have broken the record.
And Bob was quite correct. The average speed over the half-kilometre course for Crossbow was 26.3 knots, a new world record. Now, I'm speaking to you in English, and I'm using the English language for one very good reason, because I don't speak any other, that's why. Apart from a little bit of French, that is, un petit peu. Well, that's nothing really compared with Cardinal Giuseppe Gaspar Mezzofanti. He was the chief keeper of the Vatican Library in Rome in the early 1800s, and he spoke 39 languages fluently, 11 others passably, understood 20 more, together with 37 dialects, and could translate 114 languages and 72 dialects. But I don't think he could play the trumpet. However, Cardinal Mezzofanti isn't the only man to hold a record about language, is he, Norris?
No, there's a man from Portchase in the Isle of Man called Edward Madrill, and he's the only man alive whose mother tongue sounds like this.
Beginnen lunge als een taio, moest drie glinten naar de henne, als dat blaast jammer viel, dat chance dat je weer terug.
The language is Manx.
Yeah. Well, Edward is well into his 90s now. When he dies, will the Manx language die with him?
Well, no, luckily, because in Manx has been learnt by about 30 other residents of the Isle of Man, and between them they should keep it alive.
Oh, well, I'm glad to hear that.
There's another language that I don't think ever can die. It's the world's commonest language, that is North Chinese or Mandarin, and that is spoken by about 620 million people, which is more than 11 times the population of Britain.
After hearing that, I'm not surprised that the commonest surname in the world is Chang. There are 75 million Changs. Now, I wonder what you think is the commonest surname in English. Any ideas? What do you say? Smith. You think it's Smith? Yeah. Do you think it's Smith?
Yes. Yeah.
What's your name?
Erica.
Erica what?
Smart.
Smart? Well, you think it's Smith, do you? Right. Have we got any Smiths in the audience today? How many Smiths have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, we've got about 12 Smiths in the audience today. Well, you'll be very pleased to know that your name is a record breaker. Yeah. Together with 2 million other Smiths up and down the world. But I bet you're rather pleased it's only got 5 letters, because we've got a surname here now that Ross has just dreamed up. A surname you won't believe. Ross.
It's the longest surname in Britain. It belonged to the late Major Tollemache Dorilana Plantagenet Tollemache.
There you are. I bet he had a hard time at garden fetes if he had to sign autographs. That's a long surname, isn't it? Now, what about first names, Christian names? How many Christian names have you got? You. 2? How many you got? 3. What are they?
Wakelin Wilson.
Wakelin
Wilson.
Wakelin Wilson?
Yeah.
Is that 3 first names? What are they?
One's first, one's middle, one's last.
Yeah, well, right. Has anybody got 4 names? You have? Hang on. We must listen to this one. You've got 4 first names. What are they?
Marina Danielle Van Naden.
Marina? Danielle?
Van Naden.
Van Naden. Yeah, but that's all your names, isn't it?
No, there's Brooks at the end.
Oh, there's Brooks at the end, is there? Oh, good for you. Right. Didn't she do well, Bruce? Now, what I'd like to do now is I'd like you to try and think who the Briton was with the most Christian names.
Well, it was the daughter of Arthur Pepper of West Derby. She was born on the 18th of December, 1882, and she was christened with one name to every letter of the alphabet, except for P, which was her surname. And her name was Anne Bertha Cecilia Diana Emily Fanny Gertrude Hypatia Ines Jane Kate Louisa Maud Nora Ophelia Quince Rebecca Starkey Teresa Ulysses Venus Winifred Xenophon Yeti Zeus Pepper.
Yeah, and that's not to be sneezed at. Now, that's a nice name, though, isn't it? Imagine you have to go into school and you say, I'm A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z, Pepper. I'm glad I don't have to say that. I'll tell you something else. I'd hate to be any scientist as well who's working with a chemical with the formula C1289, H3051, N343, C375S8. Because that chemical has the longest name in the world, and here it is. Just wheel it in. There we are. There's the start of it. OK. Now we'll just wheel it out. We've had it... Oh, wait a minute. It's going to break. Right, can we just come through here a bit? Wait a minute. Don't let it break, can you? Hang on to that. Hang on to that. It's very difficult. Let's work it round here a little bit. Work it up here. Come on. Come on. Can you hold that? Hold it there. Can you hold that for me? Come on. No, not the big piece. Oh, you're going to take it right over there, are you? Right. Keep going. It's tightening up here. Go on, keep passing it across. I got lots of it here yet. Got lots of it. Do you know how many letters there is? 1,913 letters in this word. Keep going, keep going. There's lots of it yet. We'll never get rid of it all. Go on, keep passing it round. Anybody want to read it? It makes the name of that station in Wales look like if. Come on, look at all this. This is just one word, yeah. Do you believe that? Just one word. Imagine writing this 100 times. It's coming back down this side. Keep going. Pass it all round. Are we at the end yet? It's coming back again. It's coming round again. Keep going, keep going. This is all one word, by the way. Whoops, torn again. Is that it? There's a little more yet. This is all one word. Keep going, keep going. Whoa, steady. Steady now, steady now. There it is. There's the end of the word. How about that? Now, does anybody want to try and say it? Hang on, hold on now. Shush, 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 because we're going to hear what the word is. Okay? The professional is going to read out the word Norris.
Well, it's methionine, glutamyl, larganil, tyrosine, glutamyl, seryl, leucyl, phenyl, alanine, alanine, glutamyl, salicylate, leucyl, glutamyl, arganyl, lysyl, leucotyl, phenyl, alanil, valin, propylphenol, alanil, valin, theranil, leucine, and so on forever.
How much you got there?
That's only about a tenth of it.
That's only about a tenth of it. So, and that's one word. It goes on and it goes on and it goes on. So wait a minute. We won't carry on saying it because it's too boring. But it is a record breaker. Long, awkward words and names are difficult to say at the best of times, aren't they? To speak them quickly and accurately is even more of a problem, and that's just what radio and television sports commentators have to do all over the world. Now, one man who knows what it's like to pronounce difficult names quickly is the man I reckon to be the fastest horse racing commentator in the world, Michael O'Hare. How are you, Michael? Welcome to the Record Breakers. Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, Michael, do you in fact know how quickly you speak?
No, Roy, I really don't. You know, when a race is on, when things are going slowly and easily, I'll go slowly and easily. But when things begin to happen, I try to rev up and keep with the action. But nobody has ever counted words or anything like that.
Nobody's ever measured it?
No, nobody's ever measured it.
Well, that's what we intend to do just now, right? Because we're going to show you a film of a racehorse. It's the 1972 Derby, actually. We want you to commentate on it, you see. We've got Ross and Norris there at a tape recorder. They're going to tape your commentary, and the fastest bit of the commentary, they're then going to play back at a slow speed and count the words and see how you do. Okay?
Okay.
Right, well, there's the equipment. There's your commentator's microphone, right?
Right.
And you've got a list of runners and riders. Okay, so here we go with a rerun of the 1972 Derby with your commentator for the race, Michael O'Hare.
And here they come down now with 6.5 furlongs to go, and it's Pentland Firth out in front, and Meadowmint is right up there, and just in behind too is Rheingold or Mindo in on the inside. And as they turn down Tattenham Corner now, it's Pentland Firth out in front, Meadowmint is next, and Marcia's Mark has gone right up there close behind, or Mind as well there, and they're in the straight now with Pentland Firth still out there in front. They've got 2.5 furlongs to go now, and Pentland Firth is out there in front. Here comes Rheingold after him on the left there, and Roberto's after him too, but it's still Pentland Firth. They've got just 2 furlongs to go now, and Pentland Firth is out there in front. Rheingold and Roberto coming after him. They're neck and neck. Roberto in there in the centre, and here they come now. Rheingold over on the near side, and Roberto in on the centre. They're inside the final furlong and a half now. Final furlong, and it's Rheingold out in front of Roberto coming after him in the inside. Rheingold on the near side, Roberto, and Lester picking up on the far side. They're reaching down to the finish. It's neck and neck. It's going to be a photo finish. Yes, it is a photo finish. Roberto and Rheingold. Oh, what a finish!
Hey, That's fantastic. Yeah, what a finish. Right, now, let's see how you went on there. Because now you've got the tape there, you see. They're going to wind it back, and then they're going to select the fastest bit of commentary, and then they're going to play it back at a slow speed, and then we'll see how you did. Okay?
See how it was, right?
We'll count the words here. All set.
In the center. I had the camera right
Is that me?
over the near side, and the back to one in the center. They're inside the final half. Final 4.5 now.
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Now, what do you say, lads?
Well, that looks like 36 in 12 seconds, which at half speed is 6 seconds multiplied by 10 for words per minute, and that's 360 words a minute.
360 words a minute. Is that a record?
Yes, it is for commentating. That's a fantastic performance.
So, for a sports commentator, you have become a record breaker! Over 70% of the world's surface is water. There's 139,670,000 square miles of it. And the two biggest oceans are the Pacific and, round you go, the Atlantic. Right? Now, the distance from Las Palmas in the Canaries, which is there, to Miami, Florida, over here, is 3,600 nautical miles, a very long way. And that journey was made in 1969 by this boat. It's called Britannia 1, and it's 22 feet in length, and when it's fully loaded, it weighs a ton. And you'll probably notice that it doesn't have any sails or anything like that. That's because this boat was specially built for rowing. Yes. And the man who did that wonderful feat is our special guest today, the first man ever to row the Atlantic single-handed, John Fairfax. Congratulations, John.
Thank you.
That's a good grip you've got there. And welcome to Record Breakers.
Thank you.
So, now you were the very first man ever to row the Atlantic single-handed.
That's right.
What made you do it?
Well, I suppose I was a little bit crazy, but anyway, I read about two Norwegians who did it first time in 1869, and when I was 15, and decided one day I will do it on my own. And
Nice.
they eventually went around and did it.
Yeah. Now, when you started out, you ran into trouble immediately, didn't you?
Well, yes, that's one of those things you can't prevent. You try to do things right, but then the weather changes, and I had two months of freak weather from the very beginning. And after 2 months, I was actually further away from Miami, actually Florida, than the day I started.
Now, on your birthday, apparently, the ocean again gave you a rather nasty birthday present, didn't it?
Yeah, well, I was toasting myself with a bottle of brandy, and I was standing like this, and just about to toast myself when I saw this big 15-footer just about to crash in the boat, and I knew I couldn't help it, so all I thought about was to prevent the bottle from getting the whiskey, the brandy, or whatever, from getting salt water in.
Yeah.
So I put my thumb on the bottle, and then the wave crashed in, and I was swamped over the side, and that was that.
Were there any sharks around at the time?
Well, yes, there were always sharks around. As long as I was in the boat, they wouldn't bother me, but I had to go over the side every now and then, not only to do some exercise, apart from rowing, just to limber up.
Yeah.
And I was scraping the bottom of the boat to keep it clean, because if you're rowing, you have to keep it clean. And all of a sudden I felt I was not alone, so I turned around. This is from below the water, right?
Mm.
And I saw this shark coming at me at an angle of 45 degrees or so. And when I saw him, he was about maybe 25 yards or so from me. So I decided I didn't have time to climb back on board. So I flattened myself against the hull, and as the shark came up, I got my knife ready to stick him in the nose. And about 2 feet from me, when my hand was going down already, the shark swerved around, and just purely by accident, I got the knife inside the belly and split him open. And then the shark swam away, and I climbed back really fast.
Yeah, I'll say. So you rowed about 4,000 miles. What about...
Roughly 4,000 miles.
Yeah, but what about the...
Well, I didn't suffer much from blisters because the oars, if I can show you...
Yeah.
The grip here is pretty big, right?
Yeah.
So if it was a small grip, I would have really to grab it.
Yeah.
Being big, I just put my hand on it, and I don't have to grab much, and it was very easy.
Well, now, you eventually arrived at Miami. How long did it take?
180 days, at an average of about 22 miles per day, which is rather slow, but then...
And when you eventually arrived, what did you feel like?
Well, I felt like never again. And that's what I said. Stepping ashore, I shall never again touch an oar as long as I live.
Not content with just rowing the Atlantic and saying never again, he then decided he ought to try the Pacific, the largest ocean in the world. This time, however, he didn't do it alone. He took someone along with him, the first woman ever to row an ocean, Sylvia Cook. How are you? Welcome to the show. Well, now, Sylvia, there you were sitting in the boat, and you got 8,000 miles of water in front of you. How did that feel?
Oh, well, it felt all right, except that I was seasick to start with, which was pretty miserable.
Good. And also, with the rest of the comforts not there, a woman really should have comfort, shouldn't he? And what about the cooking? Did you share the cooking?
Well, no, I did the cooking.
Yeah?
And keeping things shipshape and that sort of odd things.
About how much food do you have to take on a voyage like this?
Well, it's about like this. This was what we started off with initially in San Francisco. But when we stopped, we took along some more fresh vegetables and some fruit, and so really it was about twice this, I suppose.
About twice as much as this altogether, so you had to pick up some more en route. So there you were. You're going to be there for ages and ages and ages. How did you sort of keep yourself all nice and pretty and trim?
Oh, well, I washed my hair in the sea. I'd kneel on the edge of the boat and put my head over down here.
Yeah.
And use ordinary shampoo, which was fine.
And washing your hair, of course, you didn't worry about sharks anymore because you were used to them by now.
Oh, no, right? But I stopped doing it once when we got to the sea snakes in the Coral Sea.
Yeah?
Yes, that cured me of washing my hair.
Yes, and you had another venture with a shark, didn't you, at one stage?
Well, yes, that was... a month, about 700 miles before we got to Australia. I went over the side to catch some dinner. Yeah. And with my spear gun, I caught a little fish. And this little shark, about 4 feet or so, took it away from my spear. So I got angry at the shark and speared him. And then, of course, he got angry at me. And we had a bit of a tussle. Yeah. And I eventually ended up by splitting him open. And he left me a souvenir. He bit me in my arm, took quite a bit of flesh from it. So, and after that I couldn't row, of course, and Sylvia had to do the whole job. And
well, there you are. Finally, you made it. 363 days. Many congratulations, and thank you sincerely for coming on the show.
Thank you very much indeed.
Well, now, I think those two trips are absolutely fascinating. And one thing that came out of both of them are these books. This one is called Britannia, Rowing Alone Across the Atlantic, and this one, Oars Across the Pacific, and they both give a real insight into what can only be described as two of the most heroic events in the world. Well, there you are. We'll be back again next week, so we'll see you then. Until then, goodbye. Where have you gone? Go on, look at it. Continuously for 14 hours and 6 minutes, and that record still stands.